Hello everybody, we're revisiting the early 90s in today's video as we're going to take a quick look at this, the Amiga CD32. So, as anyone who's keeping up with the channel knows, a couple of weeks ago I did a video about my Amiga 600, which I got back from being repaired, and I spoke a little bit about the Amiga, showing off a couple of games, and I did mention that I was hoping to get hold of one of these, and a couple of weeks later, with thanks to Amiga Passion, now going as Retro Passion, I was able to get hold of this. This is a refurbished Amiga CD32. So let's just have a quick look at it, and I'll talk a little bit about the Amiga CD32 as well. So this is a 32-bit console produced by Commodore, and it was released in September of 1993. Didn't last very long. It was discontinued in April of 1994. It sold about 100,000 units in total from what I can gather. It was a little bit of a commercial flop, and I think possibly a bit of a critical flop as well, unfortunately. So let's just have a quick look at the Amiga itself. Now I'll talk a bit more about it. So obviously it's a CD-based system, as opposed to the floppy disk-based system the Amiga was known for at the time. Previous Amiga systems had experimented with CD drives, but this was purely CD driven. The trend obviously in the early 90s was to go towards CD based product. We were about a year or two away from the introduction of the Sega Saturn, the PlayStation, and the Mega CD was out around the same time as that. So just up the top here, we got all your kind of standards: reset button for resetting the console, your power LEDs, a volume button, and a headphone socket. On the side we have an auxiliary cable there and your two controller ports. On the back, now this is where it gets a little bit more interesting, you'll see that giant red thing there, and I'll get into that a little bit later, but we've got your red, white and yellow cables there for connecting to a TV. We've got S-Video, I think that's RF, I can't quite remember because I haven't used RF in a very, very long time. Your power cable and your power switch there. And we've got nothing on that side. So just to get on to a little bit more about its history. So this is essentially an Amiga 1200 in a console. It sold for about £300 to £400 I think at the time. It wasn't exactly the cheapest thing in the market. It was marketed as the world's first 32-bit games console, which is mostly accurate, because I've been able to find out that it was accurate in Europe and America. This was indeed the first 32-bit console. It was beaten by a couple of months by something called the FM Towns Mai in Japan, which was a Japanese exclusive. So whether or not that counts, I don't know. Not that being one of the first 32-bit consoles to market did a lot, because Commodore went bust shortly after the release of this. It did, however, manage to outsell the Mega CD in its first Christmas in Europe. So, again, not that it did much good, because Commodore did go out of business. And I don't know how much the Mega CD actually sold, because from what I understand, the Mega CD wasn't a huge success either. So, it's not exactly... It's a Pyrrhic victory, isn't it, when you think about it? So, again, just before we get onto this at the back, it was exclusively a games machine. It was used outside of being purely a games machine though. Companies did buy these things up. In fact, in my research, looking at the history of the Amiga, I did find that companies were using Amiga systems to power things in-house for quite some time. Managed to find out that the London Transport Museum in Covent Garden used CD32s for its interactive exhibits. Was able to find out that vehicle registries in Canada used them for the interactive stuff when testing for license applications, and a slot machine manufacturer used them as well, stripped down CD32. So there you go, there was some, I suppose, commercial usage for it. So we'll get round to the thing on the back. So this is something that came quite late on its life cycle, and it's kind of what's led to a bit of a resurgence in the CD32. Now, I mentioned in my video about the A600 that that system itself has seen a bit of a resurgence recently. It's got a little bit of collector's value to it because you can expand it. It's the same with the CD32. This thing here is called a Terrible Fire 330. Now, what this does is it introduces a new CPU, which is much faster, gives better performance, for whatever you want to do on a CD32. It gives you 64 megabytes of RAM in there, up from I think the 2 megabytes that the CD32 had. It introduces an IDE controller that you can't see on here, but that is inside, which allows you to connect a hard drive or CF card. And it has here, just swap that around, a PS2 port for connecting old style PS2 keyboards, which they themselves not quite hard to find. So what that allows you to really do is take this CD32 and turn it into a 1200 in a box. Now, when I got this from Amiga Passion, it does have a CF card fitted in there, so I'll try and show that off later. What I would actually like to do is just talk about some of the games and maybe show for some of the CD32 games. Now, the CD32 games are quite expensive, quite hard to get hold of. You can, of course, go the alternative route, shall we say, to get hold of the games. I have not had the time to do any of that yet. I need some blank CDs to try and show them off. But I have managed to get a couple legit CD32 games. So the first one, I've got Pirates Gold here. I have the classic Lotus trilogy there. And I have Alien Breed Tower Assault. Now, as far as games go for the CD32, you're talking, this thing you mostly had ports of 1200 AGA games or existing Amiga games. From what I can gather, there weren't too many CD32 exclusive games out there. It had a run of about 175 games released for it in total. Some of the other notable ones, which I do feel there are probably certain people who might watch this who would want me to call it out. The ones I've mentioned there are also things like the Simon the Sorcerer, which had a significant upgrade. That is a point-and-click game which I've regrettably never played, but that a lot of the CD32 games introduced like talky versions of point-and-clicks. You know, that you would get now with like your modern-day point-and-clicks or even late 90s point-and-clicks. The characters actually speak. Simon the Sorcerer was quite notable, with the main character being voiced by Chris Barry of Red Dwarf fame. So that is pretty much it for showing off the console, and what I'd like to do now is showcase a few games on the system itself. So the first game I thought we'd take a look at is Alien Breed. So you see here, Alien Breed Tower Assault on CD32 comprises both Tower Assault and Alien Breed 2. So let's start with Tower Assault. So Alien Breed, if you don't know of it, is I guess it's a top-down shooter, kind of a precursor, what we'd call a twin-stick shooter nowadays. You go around a map, you collect key cards, you shoot aliens. It was a very popular game at the time. It's by Team 17, who are known for the Worms series, as well as supporting quite a lot of independent game studios nowadays. Team 17 are also responsible for one of my favourite games growing up, the game Super Frog, which I shown off in my A600 video. So, quite notable about Tower Assault on the CD32 is this little sequence as we start the game up. I won't show the entire sequence, but you can see sort of this CGI. Cutscene was starting off here, which leads very nicely into. It actually starts up there.
This is a
yep, one of the earlier examples of a live action cutscene. So that's something quite interesting, I think, to take note of. Like I say, we won't watch the entire cutscene, but you can see one of the very early examples, early 90s live action experiments there. That was one of the things about the early CD games, is a lot of them did rely on these FMV sequences. There were a lot of FMV games out there. And I'll show you a little bit of gameplay of Alien Breed here. So, yeah, how many players you've got, how many, if you share credits. You can hurt other players, retreat mode, control type, and we'll start the assault.
Nash is dead. You're on your own.
So this is it, very much the gameplay, which was pretty consistent across most of the Alien Breed titles, although I do believe there was a Alien Breed game that was a first-person shooter at one point. I think it was Alien Breed 3D, which would make a lot of sense. But the idea really is just to navigate the map as best you can, avoid getting hit. You can see there's little mines on the ground here, which I'm trying to avoid touching myself. Oh, I get attacked by an alien there.
Lasers operational. Area scan.
You can see the enemies do respawn from time to time. And there you have just a quick look at Alien Breed Tower Assault. So the next game I wanted to actually take a look at was Sid Meier's Pirates Gold. So Sid Meier's Pirates came out in the late 80s originally, and is one of those hugely successful games I think still endures to this very day. People kind of still regard this as one of the peaks of sort of pirate-based games. Not that you get a whole lot of them around, but this did provide a sort of template, I think, for many other pirate-themed games to come. So we'll start the new career and just show you what we've got here. Various historical periods. You can choose your nationality, choose your name, which I won't go into right now, difficulty, and your special skill. So we'll just set off, and I'll just show you a few various aspects of the game. So you start off, you're going on a ship to the Spanish Main, you're attacked by pirates and you engage a pirate captain in a battle. So you've got various aspects of this. You've got fencing, ship-to-ship combat, and your in-port gameplay as well. So this is pretty simple. The idea is just to beat your opponent, use the direction pad to aim at a section of his body, generally until they surrender. And then you win, and you take over their ship. So you find out there, you want to go see the English governor, visit a tavern, and what you basically do, this is the in-town exploration. So you can go into taverns, where you have to buy food to keep your men satiated. You can sell goods here if you need to. We'll buy a few items to start with. I don't want to show like the full game off, but sorry, that wasn't that was the store, not the tavern. This is the tavern, and you could go visit the governor, and they would basically they tell you who you were at war with. They give you like a charge to seek out and destroy the enemy ships and towns. That would put you in good standing with them. And generally, it was up to you to kind of be a pirate as you wanted to. So off in that other direction is the shipyard. We don't need to go there at the moment because we don't need to repair our ships. But there you go. So this is how you explore the game world. You've got your little ship. Every now and then you'll get this sail ho thing. You can investigate. Looks like a merchantman. Who is it? It's English colours. We don't really want to engage the English at the moment because that's the nationality we're playing as. So you just kind of explore the game world. Find out where to go. And basically do anything. Just level your people. It's just such a perfect template for this kind of game. It's sort of one of those rare examples where I think they perfected the template as early as it came out. It's very, very easy to learn and kind of hard to master, which is why I think it endures to this day. You don't exactly get a remake of it, but this has been ported to pretty much every system, especially in the early days. It was on like your Mega Drive, your SNES, the Amiga, PC. It got a remake in the early 2000s, and it's been on iOS and such as well. But it's just such a good pick up and play gameplay. And we'll sail around, and what I'll try and do is I'll try and find a ship for us to engage in combat with. And what you kind of do is you sail around, you build up your piratey legacy if you want to, raid towns, destroy other ships, get new ships yourself by your crew. So there we go, we found a ship with Spanish colours. Let's close in for combat. So this is very kind of like top-down view of kind of what you get in Assassin's Creed, really. You've been hit there. So the idea is just to sort of outmaneuver the ships, fire off your cannons with the hope of hitting them. There we go. Oh, got him. So hit him again. Oh, scored another hit on him. So you can see there they are losing their cannons. They've got less people than us. So we'll just try and gain on them as best we can. See, they're trying to flee from us now. I think we are slowly but surely gaining. Oh, there we go. Now we are catching up on them. Another pelting, just for good measure, and I missed. So there we go, now we approach. Now, usually when you approach them, one of two things will happen. Either they can put up the white flag and surrender yourselves, or they'll engage you in a duel, kind of similar to what we saw at the beginning. So what we'll do, we've secured a 4-gun bark of 60 tons. We'll plunder and sink her, and we'll take all of their stuff, even though we've got no room for it. Which is unfortunate. Let's take 2 guns at least. There we go, we take the crew as well. And then you're back to sailing around and building up our piratey legacy. So it's very much, what do you want to do? Do you want to go plunder other ships? Do you want to go plunder towns? Do you want to swear allegiance to one nationality or the other? Build up reputation in a town, marry the governor's daughter? All that kind of stuff. It's an absolutely fantastic game, and like I said, it's been ported to so much. Released, late 80s, this version was released 93, 94, and it's just such a fun game to play. This is one I'm thinking of actually streaming at some point, so if you are interested in that, drop a message in the comments and you'll probably see me streaming this one on Twitch. So let's move on to the next game. So, for the final game here, what I thought I'd actually do is show off some of the additional functionality that the Terrible Fire adds to the CD32, and that's the addition of the hard drive. So, once again, before I start, a massive thank you to Retro Passion for refurbing the CD32. If you do have any retro consoles or Amiga systems you want looking at, I would highly, highly recommend him. Very friendly, very quick service, and like I say, he put all this together, so I absolutely cannot fault that at all. So, the CD32 was generally just meant to be a games console. With the Terrible Fire and the addition of the card in there, we now have what is akin to a 1200. So, we can see here, we boot into the Amiga Workbench screen, and we are able to just click that. And as you can see here, we now have a huge huge list of games to select from. Let me just expand that a little bit. I do need to look at sorting out the resolution on this. So we'll just have a look at one more game, I think. So these games are generally disc-based versions of the games put through something called WHD load, which allows us to basically install the games to the Amiga's hard drive. It means they can run faster. You don't have to swap discs anymore. It improves things like the saving, I believe. So let's just find a game in T. And I kind of feel we should play this one just sort of in celebration of the fact that this is a series that is coming back early next year. We'll play Turrican 2. So there we go, it just loads up to the hard drive there. And I will get my controller. So yes, Turrican's coming back early next year. They're releasing an anthology pack for the Switch and for the PS4. It's not quite sure what the initial reception's been, but it's very nice to see a system come back that a series come back that I don't really know too much about. Now, the main thing about Turrican that is to be known about is it has an amazing soundtrack. So let's show a little bit of this off. Ooh. Now, I am not very good at this game. Well, I haven't played this one, I've played the first one. And I'm rubbish at that, so I'm not expecting to break the habit of a lifetime here. But it's a really, really nice run and gunny shooter. Very, like I say, very, very nice graphics, very, very nice music. As you can hear there, it's musician is a guy called Chris Hulsbeck, I believe, German composer, of course. Please go seek his stuff out. Please seek out the soundtracks to this, and yeah, hear how good the music is there. But of course, I've only played the first one of this. I'm terrible at it. Can get to like maybe the third or fourth level on it. I'm not like doing great here either. And my excuse is that I've never played this one before, and I'm just showing this off for you all to see. See that I've got like barely any health left. Oh, I'm dead. So yeah, some of the main functionality here, if I hold down the fire button, it does this sort of beam. It's very reminiscent of games like Metroid, I suppose you could say. Oh, we've got the wind coming at us here. Oh. Oh, he doesn't like me, does he? I think that's enough of that. A game over means probably best to stop that there. But yeah, that's Turrican 2. Obviously, probably more competent players of it out there. But that's about it for showing off a few of the games of the system. So, just to conclude, I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone who took the time to stop and watch the video. If you did like it, please, leave a like and a comment. I'm hoping to maybe do a few more videos like this, looking at all the game consoles. I do have quite a few down there. A Mega Drive, N64, Saturn, Dreamcast, the original PlayStation, which I'd love to get into and show off a couple of games for. So if there's any of them that you'd like to see me talk about and show off some stuff, please do let me know. Like I say, I'm hoping to maybe start streaming a little bit from this machine. You can see I've got a lot of games to look at, a lot of games to get better at in the case of Turrican, and that's about it. So again, thank you all very much, and for about third time, big thank you to Retro Passion for putting together this refurbed Amiga, and that's it. See you all later.